Welcome to Navigate Your Wealth. I'm Rebecca Powers. So happy to be here with you again. And this is brought to you by Compass Financial. Karen Stawicki, who started this many years ago, and her beautiful daughter, Samantha Irish, who joined the business, how many years ago?
10.
10 years ago. People talk about Social Security, and we get a lot of calls and questions and emails from you all, and we love that. A lot of people are asking about Social Security. Karen, if you would, let's give the history, what it was meant to do and how it is today.
Well, certainly a lot has changed, that's for sure. In 1935, Social Security was first established. And at that time, when you were 62 years old, for the most part, you turned on your Social Security. And the sad thing was, at that time, back then, most people didn't live much past 65, 67. You know, if you hit 70, that was a milestone.
Right.
That's not the way it is today. So the decision on when to turn it on and what options I can pick and how I can best help my family with the Social Security, I mean my spouse, is something that a lot of people are reading a lot about and trying to get a lot of information on. And that is something that we really want to help the clients understand, because it's not a one-size-fits-all. You know, originally Social Security was 100% tax-free. Right. That changed, right? In 1983, Ronald Reagan first made the first change. He said that if you had, I think it was in the neighborhood of $25,000 or $30,000 of income, you made a lot of money. Terrible. But that 50% of that Social Security would be taxable. And then in 1993, they upped that number of earnings. It's around 40-something, give or take, right now for a married couple. And now up to 85% of your Social Security could be taxable. So what was originally supposed to be a completely tax-free benefit is not completely tax-free anymore.
But it's still a big part of what your retirement income can be.
It has to be a big part of what your retirement income can be. And the nice thing is that for some individuals, Social Security makes up most of their retirement income. But for those individuals where Social Security is a supplement to their retirement income, you have so many more choices.
Good.
But you need to understand how to leverage it. Because by making the wrong decision, you could be leaving hundreds of $1,000s on the table.
Wow.
I mean, that's some numbers that you want to know.
Yes.
You know, one thing that has changed, you talked about what are the changes to it. The Bipartisan Act of 2015 changed the file and suspend or the restrict.
Yeah, they took that stuff away.
They took it away. And so what used to be a lot of options for your Social Security and how to maximize it was removed. So now it comes down to the individual to understand, what are the assets that I have? How does Social Security play into that? And how do I maximize both together? Because if the only option that you have is Social Security, it may make sense to wait. But if you have other assets, it may make sense to turn it on early.
And you've said many times, everyone is completely different. So you have to look at every inch of their entire story.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, for years and years and years, I have said much of our thinking flies in the face of conventional wisdom.
Yeah.
While everybody out there is saying, wait as long as you can to turn on your Social Security, in many cases, Samantha and I have the mathematical evidence to prove that it makes more sense for them to turn it on as soon as they can. You know, the problem with deferring taking your Social Security is that you're dipping into other assets. Other assets that could be in the market growing. Other assets that you could leave to your family. The problem with Social Security is you can leave it to your spouse, but nobody's getting it after that.
Gotcha.
You know, so
I know that is so different from any thinking of that. You're the only ones I've ever heard say that.
Completely different.
Well, and I want to go back to, you can leave it to your spouse. You know, with Social Security, sometimes people think, oh, we need to wait because we need to make sure that we get the biggest check possible. But when the first spouse dies, one of the two Social Securities is going away.
It is the smaller one, but it's going away.
But it's still going away. So sometimes it makes sense to wait on one of the Social Security checks, maybe whichever one is going to be larger anyways, because it will be the check that remains.
Gotcha.
But for the smaller Social Security check, does it make sense to turn it on now and use those assets while you're living? I mean, When you think about your retirement, do you think your best years in retirement are going to be the first 10 or the last 10?
Yeah.
In most cases, the first
when
10.
You're younger and healthier.
So let's put as many spendable dollars in your pocket so that you can enjoy your retirement.
And you can do anything with that.
Absolutely. In fact, we have some fun things that we love to do with Social Security. We actually talked about it on another show, but I think it bodes repeating again.
Yes.
We had a client that really didn't need Social Security, and he said, you know, I'm just going to kick that can down the road as far as I can. My wife will get a bigger check if I wait. And I said, let's just look at that, because you are 66 years old, so you are over full retirement age. And that's a critical thing, Rebecca.
Right.
There's an age for each of us that's called FRA, full retirement age, that when you hit that number, you can still work and not have to give back any of the Social Security. Because before that age, for every $2 you earn, you have to give $1 back. So it's not even worth turning it on.
We don't like that idea.
No.
Yeah, forget that.
So this individual is 66. His full retirement age was sooner than that. He turned on the income, and I showed him how those IRAs that he was dying to convert to a Roth IRA but didn't want to pay the tax, I said, I got an idea for you. How about if we take your Social Security and use that money that the government gave you to convert your IRA to a Roth IRA, making that bucket now 100% tax-free from here forward to grow for yourself, your family, your heirs, anyone, and let that Social Security check pay the taxes.
That's awesome.
Get the government to pay the taxes.
I love that. It feels kind of good, too, like you're sticking it to the man.
It felt really good, to be honest with you.
A lot of people don't realize how important taxes are, that it is literally one of the pillars of retirement. They think, oh, tax is not that big of a deal. How big of a deal is it?
I mean, I think it's the thing that makes or breaks your retirement.
Really?
Because at the end of the day, it's not how much you make, it's how much you get to keep. And there is what we consider optional tax, which is the difference between the taxes that are required for you to pay and what happens if you defer those taxes and you kick the can down the road and you pay the taxes over a long period of time. That difference, that gap, is something that we want to help our clients understand the difference of. Because if you can pay a smaller amount of tax, we want to help you figure out what that number is.
In fact, if you'd like to find out what that number might be, I'd encourage you to dial the number on your screen right now, 855-348-3073. We want to sit down and have a conversation with you and help you understand not only when the right time to turn your Social Security on might be, but what creative things you might be able to do with that Social Security. In that conversation, we're going to listen to you, but we're also going to provide you with a complimentary copy of our retirement roadmap. In that, you will have a tax burden analysis explaining to you exactly the difference that Samantha was just relating to between what you have to pay and really what is discretionary, and we'll explain that later. Also, in that analysis, you'll get that Social Security analysis, you'll get a risk analysis. We want to provide all of that to you, but you've got to pick up the phone right now and dial that number, 855-348-3073.
Absolutely. And each week we reserve 20 spots for you, our viewers. We want to make sure that everyone who calls gets a reservation to meet with this wonderful family. There's a number again, 855-348-3073. We're going to talk more about Social Security and how you can pay less taxes. It is possible. Stay with us.